Hi everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Books with Leo, where I talk about books and reading, and today I'm going to be talking about all of my favourite reads. So it's been a really long time since I discussed my recent reads on this channel. I think the last time was literally half a year ago. I'm just realising the significance of that. I haven't read as much as I usually do in the last couple of months. So for me, I tend to read between 6 to 10 books a month. And I think the last few months, it's dabbled between like 5 or 4 books. Sometimes less, sometimes more. It just depended on my mood and I wasn't really that keen on pressuring myself too much. I think as readers, we feel a lot of pressure to read as much as possible, and especially on BookTube. And I do enjoy reading a whole lot, but I also enjoy not doing that every now and then. So yeah, so I haven't done a wrap up since April or something like that. I just do wrap ups when I feel like them. So this is going to sort of be a mashup where I discuss my reads of September and October, but I also just look at some of the reads I really enjoyed and some that I did like, but weren't particularly favorites, you know, just the good and the not so good. Oh no, I almost dropped the whole pile. This is going so smoothly. One of the books I'm still currently reading is The Marvels by Brian Selznick. I'm really enjoying this. I am a little over halfway through. It's part graphic novel and it is part written story, and I've just arrived at the written story part. I've spent some time reading yesterday and this morning, and so far the vibes are amazing. If you're looking for something with Christmas vibes and winter vibes as well, but also with a shipwreck and some sort of sea adventure vibes, this is all you need. It's really cool. So in the first bit, we follow this shipwreck and all its survivors and the Marvel family who marvel at theatre. And they're all theatre actors. And then in the second bit of the story, we follow a runaway from a boarding school who goes to visit his uncle, who might be related somehow to the Marvels, but I haven't figured that out yet. So, but that's part of the mystery as well. So this one is one I'm really enjoying, and one that I will hope to be calling a new favourite in the next upcoming months. Then another book I've read recently, I think in October it was, I read this, is The Atlas 6 by Oliver Blake. Not a new favourite. I was really hoping it would be, because in the beginning I was absolutely vibing with this book. I was having the best time. I was telling everybody I knew I was having the best time. It was just all around really good. This is a dark academia about a couple of magical people, basically, who are all just out of university and who are invited to this magical society. And there's this sort of entrance thing, and it's all very mysterious, and they're all rivals, and all of the characters are really cool. I think if you like character-driven fantasy, then this is definitely a book I would recommend. I also love character-driven fantasy. It's just, I'm sorry to say so, but to me, this book felt a bit like just vibes, no plot. And I'm really sorry to say so, because I felt like the potential was really there. Like, all of the characters are so good, and they're so morally grey. It's so cool. There's so many cool concepts and ideas in this book. But then the actual execution just kind of fell flat for me, and I'm really sorry to say that, because I was really like sort of cheering this book on. I was like, yes, I want you to be good, and then it just really wasn't for me. Some of my friends had already warned me about this, but I was still like, I will read it and I will love it. I did give it 3 stars. I did enjoy my experience with it, but definitely not a book that is for everyone. I want to talk about some spoilers, so if you still want to read this, skip ahead. Can we talk about the threesome? Oh my god! I did not see that coming. I don't know why I did not see it coming, since like every single character has sexual tension with every single other character in this book, or is it just me? I felt like they all really wanted each other, and I don't know. It was good though. I think it was one of the parts I enjoyed most about this whole book. I don't know what that says about me as a person or a reader, to be honest. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. Next book that I wouldn't really call a favourite, but definitely a book I did really enjoy, was Sorcery of Thorns. I think this also got like 4 stars or something. Great winter vibes. If you're looking for a book with an amazing atmosphere that's super wintry with some snowy scenes, I want to throw this in your face because it has it all. It's basically about this girl in a magical library, and she's grown up in the magical library, and she's trained to be a warden of all the magical libraries in this magical land. Lots of magic, and basically then the director of the library gets killed and she's a suspect, and from there on out all sorts of things start happening and going wrong. That's all I can say, really. I did enjoy it. The things I liked the most about this book were the writing style, the quirky characters, and the humor, but also the vibes. Just great vibes. Like, the atmosphere was so well done. I just want to live in the magical libraries. So, yeah. Then we get to a book that was definitely a recent favourite, and that is Heartstopper Part 4 by Ellis Oseman. I read this back in the end of August, I think. Yeah, when I was still on holiday. That's a while ago. Hadn't really talked about it yet, so I neglected to mention this book, so I'm doing it now. This is part 4 in the Heartstopper series by Ellis Oseman, which is a delightful comic, one of my favourite graphic novels ever, about these two boys who are falling in love and then face all the challenges of being a young boy in love with another boy. It talks at length about really important and some difficult topics as well, such as discovering your sexuality, friendship, homophobia. Eating disorders are also a big part of this storyline. It's just really well done, and it is so heartwarming, and it is like, I wish every teen would read these books because they're so helpful, and just Ellis Oseman is a wonderful and super talented author, and I'm so happy to have read their work and to still be enjoying so many of the things they create. It's also going to be a Netflix show, which is beyond exciting. I cannot wait for it to come out and to actually watch it myself. So yeah, Heartstopper is definitely also a recent favourite, and I think it will be. Like, every volume of this comic will be a favourite of mine. I can predict that already, I just know. Another recent favourite is Dit gebeurt als je duurzaam gaat leven by Marije van der Made. Let me translate that for you, because I bet you don't speak Dutch, huh? I don't know why that came out so aggressively. This is what happens when you start living sustainable, or sustainably. Not entirely sure. Anyway, it's a book about sustainability. If you do speak Dutch, I would highly recommend it. I don't think it's translated into any other languages. This book is a really inviting start to learning more about environmentalism and being more sustainable, and it tackles really important subjects on the matter, such as dressing yourself more sustainably, fast fashion. It also talks about being vegetarian or vegan. It talks about traveling. It talks about the guilt you feel as you become more aware of all the issues we have. It's just really all round and really well done with a lot of humour as well. If you're starting to just look into the subject, this is a great start. It also talks about some stuff like feminism and Black Lives Matter, so it has a bit of everything really, and I would highly recommend it if you're looking for something to read on sustainability. And if you guys have any book recommendations for me to read on this subject as well, I would love to know them, because I've been looking for more non-fiction books to learn more about this. Another book I read in October was The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. I was really hoping this would be a new favourite, but I can't really say it is. It's more sort of like a book I did really like, but I wouldn't call a favourite yet, or something like that. I gave it 3.5 stars, I think, or 3 stars. I was absolutely loving the beginning. I was like constantly yelling at everybody how much I loved it. Like, this seems to be a pattern with me. Like, in the beginning of the book, I'm constantly like, best thing I ever read. And then as it continues, I'm like, wait, no, not really. So yeah, I get very enthusiastic too quickly, maybe. But this is basically about a girl who puts a hex on her ex. She's a witch. And then like 10 years later or so, he comes back to her town and the hex seems to be real and she's cursed him, and now they have to figure out together what to do about it. Great Halloween vibes, super autumnal. Did enjoy reading it, but just kind of fell flat at the end. Like, the whole climax of the story was just kind of like, But yeah, if you're looking for something that's like hocus pocus, but with a lot of great smut, then I would recommend this. Also, the gothic vibes. Lovely. Oh, my arm is starting to genuinely hurt from holding up all the books. It's me, miss, with her weak arms. Everybody that's new to this channel is just like, what's she talking about? Oops. Another book I read recently and I did really enjoy and would call a recent favourite is The Oracle Year by Charles Soule. This was called a chick lit, like not a chick lit, but a lit, like for men, in the comment section of Goodreads, and I kind of agree, but I still really liked it. So yeah, it's basically about this guy, Will, who wakes up one day with all these predictions in his head and he just knows they're going to happen, and then they do actually start happening, and so he's the Oracle. And he starts putting these predictions on a website and they come true, and a lot of big companies get involved. Will makes a lot of money, and then also the government starts coming after him and his friends get involved, and it's basically just this whole big story of what's important and whose morals matter the most and whose reasons for doing certain things are more important than other ones. And if you're into grey morality and very all-round interesting characters, then this is a book I would highly recommend. I did also like that there's a variety of characters in this story that all have very different motivations and they just keep clashing. So there's the government, there's this one secret agent lady that's working for the government, sort of, then there's these ladies who are hackers who are helping Will, and they all have different motives, and it's so interesting, and it begs the question, like, what's more important, and like, is there even a greater good? Like, that's a really big question in this book. And it just really made me think about a lot of things. I want to have discussions with people in my life about those things. And it really reminded me of Hank Green's writing as well. So if you like Hank Green, the author and also TikToker, then I would also highly recommend this book. So definitely one that I enjoyed. Also what I liked is that at the beginning of the story, Will is basically like sort of a starving bass player in New York, and then at the end he's an oracle, and it's a really interesting character line as well. Another book I would call a recent favourite is Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura. Have talked about this book already at length, and I will do it again. This is such a great read, and I cannot wait to reread it at some point. It's about this girl who's struggling with her mental health, and she's being bullied at school, and then one day her bedroom mirror glows up, and she discovers that there's like a magical world behind her mirror with a castle and other kids that come to the castle, and they all have different issues. They all have reasons they're not coming to school, and they basically have to do this quest in the castle where they find the key, and then when they find the key to this special room, one of them can fulfill a wish that will come true in the real world. It tackles a lot of subjects about mental health and about sort of the stigma on mental health, especially when you're younger. And I thought it was just a really lovely take on a lot of those issues, and also in friendships and building friendships as you're younger and as you're going through your teen years. Next to that, it was also a really fairy tale-like story. It had a lot of Studio Ghibli vibes, so if you love that, highly recommend. And it was just really great, and I just want to read it again. And the discovering of the castle is also just when characters in stories discover like hidden hallways and castles and stuff like that. I just love it. It's one of my favorite things in books. So this had me from the first page, and it didn't let me go, and I would highly recommend it. Another book I recently read and really enjoyed was The Ghost Garden by Emma Carroll. This is a really short story. I think you can read it on Scribd as well if you have Scribd. Basically, this is about a girl, Frances, I think she's called. I don't remember. But yeah, I think it was Frances. She's living in this mansion, and then one day she finds something in the yards, and she starts noticing that things that she finds in the yard keep a connection to things that happen in the real world, but in a really creepy, sinister way. If you like Coraline, if you like Neil Gaiman stories, if you like that creepy, twisty vibe in children's stories, then this is one I would highly recommend, and all of Emma Carroll's work actually, because she writes scary things, like truly disturbing things that are sort of still kind of cute, like in a really weird way. It's like creepy middle grade. That's just my genre. Love it. Had a great time. So a really short read, so I can't say too much about it because it's like 90 pages. So you should just go check it out yourself. It also has really nice illustrations. So if you're into that, would also highly recommend. Then another middle grade I've read recently and really liked was The House with the Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. Brits lent this out to me. Thank you so much. This is about Marinka, whose grandmother, Baba Yaga, helps the spirits go on to the next world in their house, and their house has chicken legs. This is a great read for Halloween. It tackles subjects of grief and friendship and wanting to be on your own and independent when you're still very young, and it's just so well done. Like, so many great subjects that are so important in a great middle grade that's also really adventurous and has some really like quirky, witty vibes, especially with the house that just keeps moving on its weird, funny chicken legs. A middle grade I would recommend to anybody really, regardless of your age. And also a great book to read to younger children, I think, if you want to have conversations about grief that are not too heavy on the heart, you know? Although this book is a bit heavy on the heart, like it made me shed a couple of tears at the end because it's just really sad, but in a great way. So yeah, really loved it. Then I think this is already the last book I wanted to talk about today. I did that really quickly. I feel like I did that quickly. This is The Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. This book has been really popular on BookTube, and I cannot disappoint you. I also really loved it. So I think it was 5 stars for me. I read it in one day. I read it at the beach. I had the best time. Also made a reading vlog on that particular day. This is about Olive and her professor who she falls in love with. It's just great. It's like, it's women in science, and it's a rom-com, has funny smut. It's a great time. Loved it. I thought it was really great. I just had a good time reading it. There are some sexual assault scenes in this one though that are quite like, they sort of came out of nowhere to me. I feel like it was handled well within the story though. But trigger warning for that if you didn't know that was going to happen. But other than that, this is a great rom-com, made me laugh out loud, just had like a fun afternoon with this book. So that's all the books I wanted to talk about today. I really hope you enjoyed this video of me talking about my recent reads. Let me know what you've been reading recently in the comments down below. I would love to know. And if you do not know what to comment, just leave some cute full emojis, like some leaves maybe, or some mushrooms. I don't know, maybe we can transfer into winter with the emojis as well. I feel like my emoji requests keep getting worse. I'm so sorry. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!